People often ask, how can you adjust a horse when it's so big, it's so muscly, you know, you really must have to shove into it. But if you think about a horse with a fly on it, it's got a nervous system that reaches out to its skin the same way as we do. And quite often the most effective treatments are the lightest treatments, because that's where the animal will be receptive to what you're doing. Okay. And one more from here. There we go. Great. Okay. This is a rising dressage horse who's working at Prix Saint George. We've worked with him for quite a long time, and he's a good example of a horse who's fantastic. There's no problem with him, but we're working to get the very best out of him. Yeah, and he almost moves the whole of him as he goes to change it. The back end moves as well.
Think about it rather than on the left, you know, to the left it's like more.
Yeah. Dressage is all about expression and correctness and symmetry, and with chiropractic treatment he's able to do his flying changes more correctly now. He can bring his canter pirouettes easily instead of everything being difficult. So he's helping the rider, she's helping him. Working with the rider and the horse in tandem can often get rid of problems. Otherwise you'll find that a problem will keep coming back and keep coming back because the rider can only sit on one seat bone.
We noticed that when she was riding, and especially going into a jump, she tended to twist to one side. And some of the problems Pi had was along one side of her body. So we wondered whether Abby was influencing Pi or vice versa. So Mary saw Abby as well, and her riding was much smoother, her range of movement was much better, and Pi seemed to respond to her aids much better. The two need to work together.
It looks quite sort of jammed up here. Obviously it's great fun working with horses at the top end of professional work, but a little pony who's bucking and scaring his 5-year-old rider is pretty satisfying to work in, and I'm at either end of the spectrum and everywhere in between. Come on, get on. Oh, good boy. If the vets have facilities, I can treat them there, or more usually I'm out and about in yards treating horses without them having to be trailered. It's nicer for them simply to go back out in their field than to have to get in a box and travel after treatments. And then to watch them when they turn out afterwards, sometimes they'll be very kind of sleepy. Some of them feel as fresh as a daisy because they've just had something that was holding them back released. This big coloured horse that we worked on there obviously felt full of the joys of spring.
Naturally, if you look at it, he stands like a stool, not like a table. Like he stands over at the front, which presses.
All animal chiropractic work is referred from vets, and it's really valuable being able to work alongside other professionals who are working on the horse, like the saddlers and the farriers, because obviously I'm making alterations and then they're doing their work. So working as a team really is important if we're going to do the best for the horse. Dazzle is a really exciting prospect. He's a show jumper who has been in this yard for a couple of years now and is working his way up through the grades. Yeah. That's great, thank you very much.
No worries.
He is looking well, isn't he?
Oh, honestly, it's a different horse.
That's great.
Completely different.
Very often people will say it feels like or it looks like a different horse, and it is that. I've got my old horse back. Sometimes people will say, do you know, I felt like crying just at the relief of having my relationship back, because that relationship with the animal is really precious to people. It means a lot.